Fingers crossed we are live and everybody's happy. I'm here a little bit early, so fingers crossed it's going to tell me I'm live on both. Hello Pat, let's hope that it's not just you and I, and then there'll be a few more of us watching, or a few more of you watching. I come on a minute early to just make sure that we were all going strong today. At the moment it tells me I'm connected to YouTube and I'm connected to Facebook. Good afternoon, Sue. So hopefully we'll cover all bases. Who knows? It might be successful. So today, I completely forgot that I needed to write a little list of what I needed to tell you about. So as we go along, I'll try and remember. Oh, and we're on Facebook too, so that's looking good. Hi Sally Ann, hope you are all better and mended for the new year. Fingers crossed you are. Hi Carol. So, my goodness, hasn't it turned cold? Woo. We had a busy morning. Maisie had a haircut. Hi Catherine. I had a bit of a drama last week and ended up having to be taken up to the hospital with what they thought was a flexi tendon infection, but turned in my hand, which is not good when you're right-handed. But I ended up with cellulitis in my finger. I didn't know you could get it in your finger. Hi Tina, hi Liz, hi Pat, and thanks Martin. So yeah, today we had Maisie haircut. Then I had to go up to the hospital and get that checked out again today and got the all clear, which is great. And then pick Maisie, got home, and then they get phone calls, pick Maisie up, and then I got to set all this up. So I'm on the drag and freezing. It's really cold. So we've been very lucky, no snow down here. But we did wake up to a very hard frost. Don't think the frost even cleared from yesterday, so we got a double whammy. Hi Angela. That's good news, Sally Ann. So we're going to get started. Oh my lord, suddenly loads rushed in. Hi Margaret. Very cold, hope all is better now. All is perfectly fine. Well, 99% back, you'll see. Right-handed, and it was my ring finger. Woke up the Sunday morning with a huge finger and couldn't move it. Sue, keep your snow, please. I love looking at the snow, but not when I've got stuff to do. Hi, Kathy. Right, let's get started. What are we working on today? I'm doing 2 cards today, hopefully. So we've got quite a bundle. Liz, we actually left Maisie a little bit longer than we normally do today because, believe it or not, she's shaking like a leaf. Hi Debbie. So yeah, she's a little bit longer than we would normally do. We'll reassess that when she goes back before Christmas. Which, yeah, there's only 3 weeks between these two, which isn't great, but hey ho. When you've got a white fluffy dog, you have to deal with these things, don't you? So this is what we're working on today. So one of these demos is one that I didn't get to on my last TV show. One of them is one that we technically didn't get to at a workshop. So if you're on any of our workshops this season, that's just finished, this is how you make this card. I might one day be brave enough to make the card on Facebook, YouTube Live that we did at our workshop that caused so many problems. But I have to get over that first. I have to get over that stress first. So here we go. We are going to be using Proud Day stamp set. This is part of the last release. And it says, well done. So proud of you. Thank you. You made day. And then you can put my or our. And then you make so proud me or us. So that's that particular set of stamps. We will be using Funky Line Stencil. We will be using Paint Splats Stencil and Mask. And we will be using Brushstrokes Stencil and Mask. As I say, it's 2 cards, so it looks really scary with the amount of inks and stuff that's on here, but it's not, I promise. And now I've got Maisie up here, and I'm going to apologise now. There you go. See, told you. A dog must be walking past. She's sitting on the windowsill. Look at this. I wonder if I can flick it round so that you can see. Don't know if I can, but we'll give it a go. Look at that little madam. Being all little Hitlers. proper madam she is. Right, let's bring that back. There we go. Hopefully she's stopped waffling now and we can get on with this. Back to this piece. So we'll be using our black cardstock, which comes in 270 GSM, or a paperweight one, which is 120 GSM. Hello Lorraine, one day I'll get there. Oh, we've got Margaret, love the stamp. Catherine, no, my stress levels will never take a repeat of that workshop, ever. I've never, ever been that stressed in a workshop in my life. See what you did to me? I ended up in hospital 2 days later. Thank you very much, Pat. That's lovely. Gorgeous. Proper madam. Anyway, cardstock. White cardstock, we're doing 300 GSM or 250 GSM. So that's a super smooth. It's fab for stamping on. And the 300 is strong enough to use as a card if you needed to as well. We quite often mix and match our cards to do that. Right, so we are using sticky glue in 120mm and 30mm. Ah, she's all right now. She's settled down. No more barking, hopefully. We've got the crystal clear embossing powder. Debbie, yes, if you listen back, haven't been ill, but I've got cellulitis in my finger. Versafine Onyx Black. Oh, I'm glad you still enjoyed it, Catherine, but it was very stressful. Anti-static bag. Let's move these out of the way. See if I can do this and still be able to pick it up at the end. And then the colours. The second card we're going to be doing, we will use these 3 colours, which are Seedless Preserve, Dusty Concord and Shaded Lilac. The first card we're going to do, because it's the more complicated, well, it's not more complicated, but it's the busier card, are using these colours. So we've got Carved Pumpkin, Picked Raspberry, Festive Berries, Twisted Citron, Mustard Seed and Mermaid Lagoon. It's quite a list, I know. So pop those to one side because we'll use my ones. They're all bashed and smushed about, but there you go. So the cardstock sizes, you just need some scraps to do your sentiments on, so that doesn't matter. We are using an A5 landscape card, so it's folded at the top. And again, it's your choice how you do this card. You could just do it on an A4 and have it open like a book, as however you want. The choice is yours. And then we've got a black and a white piece. The white piece is, now you know that you're not going to like me for a lot of these measurements, but it's not me, it's the A4 and the inches. They're not friends. So the white piece is 7.5 by 5 1/4. And the black piece is 5 3/8 by 7 3/8. Basically, it's just giving you like an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. So if you want a slightly bigger border, make it a slightly bigger piece of black card. That's up to you. Oh, Pat, I know you bought, I think you got everything, didn't you, Pat, from the last release on your little bundle. I'm sure I saw that when I was packing it up. Right, let's get going. So you've got your white piece of cardstock. I'll give you the measurements for the other one when we get to the other one, if that's all right with everybody. Now, as I said, it's been a busy morning, so I haven't been able to prep this ahead. So literally, it's cut out ahead. Other than that, it is what it is. So I've got my Wendy borders, I call it. Wendy Vecchia Make Art Station. And then I'm going to place this down. Now, I don't want to go over the edges of this, so just for my own peace of mind, I'm going to take a piece of paper towel. And you know there's a right and a wrong way to rip this, and you know I'm going to rip it the wrong way. Right? We'll get it the right way. So I'm just going to rip that into 3. Purely because I want to make my life a little bit easier. I don't want that harsh line if it went over the edge. Doesn't have to be lined up beautifully. I just don't want that edge if I caught it. So you can do it with tape if you haven't got these boards, obviously, but just so that we don't go over the edges, because I don't want to go over the edges. Even my magnets are stuck to my board, it's got so cold. So we're going to be using the small blending brushes. We are completely out of stock of brushes at the moment, but they will be back, don't you worry. They will be back. Maybe with some new additions to the family, you never know. I thought you had got the whole bundle back. You was a lucky lady. There is no right or wrong order to put these in. If you're happy with where you put your inks, that's fine by me. And I'm still loving my little trick that I found, where if you missed it, I had the aha moment when I realised that my lid fitted underneath my Oxide, which is a bit dumb, isn't it? How many years I've been using Oxides. But hey ho, we're there. Right, so let's get started. I am going to start with a yellow and green base. Now, here's another tip, because you've got it at the side. You can always just check your colour of your brushes as you go in. So I'm using the brushstroke stencil. So this is our bold brushstroke stencil. Now with the brushstroke stencil, we have lots of little teeth-like pieces on them. So I always work with those rather than going against them. Don't stick your finger in the blue when you're working on yellow. I always work with them rather than going across them, because I don't want to stretch those or bend them over. So just try, and it kind of gives quite a nice effect when you do it like this, I think. Now you don't want to go too heavy, because this is going to be your base. You're going to stamp over the top of it. So you don't want a heavy image. So you're just taking that colour all over. So what's everybody else been up to? Obviously I had a bit of a drama of a week, but not everybody else did. And not many of you have been sharing on our Facebook Be Creative page, or Be Inspired page. I like to see what you've been doing with all your stuff. I know Pat's been sharing a few. So that's all I've done. Hardly any colour put down there. Just want a really light background to it. It's a bit heavier than I thought it was going to show up as, but. And then beside it, I'm going to pop a skinnier one. Doesn't matter if it overlaps at all. That's fine. I know, there we go, fourth magnet. And I'm going to go in with the green on that one. Try and be good and remember to put my lids on when I'm supposed to. Again, don't want too heavy a colour. Lift this one up a minute because it's a bit. There we go. Don't want your colour to go on there too heavy. I keep saying this, my Twisted Citron needs re-inking, but I keep forgetting to do it until I go to use it, and then it's too late. You don't need to see me sitting here re-inking it, do you? So as I say, this is just, this is an ideal card for somebody who loves to put a lot of colour onto a card, but isn't great at colouring in, or isn't very confident at the colouring in. This is perfect for that, because you can use those fab individual images. You're laying the colour down before you stamp it. So no one's going to see whether you're good at colouring or not, because you don't have to colour it. So that's our base. I'm going to bring that up a bit closer to you. I'm just finding a home to put my stencil so it doesn't, mustard seed goes a long way. So just, and you could do that with whatever colour behind it you want. Just as it is, I like it. I don't need, but obviously I'm not going to leave it like that. So put my board out of the way now, And then we're going to come in with our Paint Splats stencil. And you can use completely random colours. Go wherever you want to go with them. And the lovely thing about the Paint Splats is, particularly with the stencil, you can go in with how heavy or how light you want. You can shade it, you can do all sorts with it. So we're just going to build up around the edges. Don't be scared, you can go over things. I'm not using my board for this because I'll be moving these around a bit too much to keep flipping it on and off with the boards and the magnets and faffing around like that. So you can go in as heavy or as light as you want. You can use whichever images you want. Where's my blue? Feeling a bit of blue. Just be mindful again of that square line around the edge. Square line, how can you have a square line? The straight line around the edge, because you don't want that to go over the edge and give you, it will give you that V, and you really don't want that. So just be mindful of that. And obviously by going over it, you're going to change your blue to a green. You can do however you like. That's the beauty of this particular stencil. You can put as much or as little, as heavy or as light as you like. So we'll go a little bit heavier with this side. And that's why I love to, for certain things, stencils definitely have their place. It's perfect to do things like this with, that just add to the texture but without being too intrusive. So you could go really super light, or we can go in really solid. I think we'll have a bit of the yellow. I'm terrible once I get all of these out, I have them everywhere. Just mind that hard line. So I missed out what everyone was doing. So the rain working, that's no fun. You live in the sunshine, you shouldn't be working so hard anymore. Grandchildren just get in the way sometimes, as lovely as they are. Tell them you've got crafting to do. Oh, I love wrapping presents, Pat. Hi, Mum. I was going to ask how your ankle was going, Kathy. Obviously not 100% mended yet then. That's a shame. Fingers crossed they'll get you sorted out. Oh, a year? My God, where's that time gone? No, Kathy, I was very lucky. I managed to get my ring off. Just on the Sunday morning, I thought I'd better get that ring off before this gets any bigger. Just in case this gets any bigger, which was a very good move because it got about 3 times the size. So thankfully, no, I didn't have to have it cut off. But it hasn't made it back on there yet. You can see where my finger was. And it's like, it was 3 times the size. It was huge. And a fat sausage finger. Right, we need some darker pink in here somewhere, I think. That's the colour I'm feeling it needs. But we haven't put any green on, so we're going to go with green first. You might still have 3 years to go, Lorraine, but you don't have to work so hard. Have some time out. See how that green just changed it, the whole look of it? It's mad, isn't it? If I go in there with a bit of pink again, I think. You don't have to be quite so careful with the paint splats about the rubbing of them, because although they do have some sharper edges, they're still quite, what would you say, quite robust. There's certain ones that you'd be a bit more cautious with, but on the whole they're pretty good. So I think that's enough on there, don't you? This card's a brilliant card for teenagers and things as well, so bear that in mind as well. I'm always trying to come up with the ones that people struggle with, so hopefully that will help a few of you. I'm not putting all of this away yet because hopefully that's given that a bit of time to dry. I'm desperately looking, that's what I was looking for. Anti-static bag. So I'm going to anti-static it and hope I've given it enough time for the centerpieces to dry. So we're going to come in with our stamp. Versafine Onyx Black and our crystal clear embossing powder is what we're going to be using. So lots and lots of little light taps all over your stamp. If you don't think your darker pieces are black enough, keep going over the top. Don't be afraid to put too much ink on here. So long as you don't press down too hard, you won't put too much ink on. It will only take as much ink as it can cope with. But if you press too hard, you'll be pushing it into all the little nooks and crannies, and all the detail will disappear. That's the only thing that you can do against it if you put too much ink on. If you don't put enough ink on, you'll be really mad and have to redo it. Because it's very difficult to match them up exactly again. Right, so I'm gonna pop this on here. There's no right or wrong where it goes, just wherever you fancy it landing. Obviously, probably if I was doing this for a teenage boy, I probably wouldn't put a flower on it. Up in January, at least you've got something to look forward to, Kathy. Fingers crossed they'll get it sorted for you now. Right, so I did mention there was a few things I wanted to talk to you about. Those of you that aren't aware, our Suffolk workshop has changed dates due to circumstances out of our control. It is now on Saturday the 3rd of February, because I know a few of you couldn't come because you were away in the January one. But we do have a couple of places left, and it's now Saturday the 3rd of February. So this is where we find out if my ink was dry or not. Try and get one that hasn't got too much glitter in it. Wasn't too bad. Now the one thing I've forgotten to say for a while is when you're using Versafine Onyx Black, when you put your embossing powder on it, don't give it a really good flick. Just a little light tap will take the excess off, not like you normally would if you were taking all the ink, the embossing powder off embossing ink. So you don't need it to give it as much of a flick as you normally would. So let's heat these up from underneath. So we also have TV still to come, which at the moment is the 13th of December. I want to say it's at 7 PM again in the evening. I will just ask if either Martin, if you're watching, or Mum, or Veronica, or whoever else is around, could just check that. I'm pretty sure that's when it is. But we will be posting about that this week. We just haven't confirmed it 100% with TV yet because I needed to see how my finger held up here. So we will see. But we're doing all right. So I'm pretty certain it's at 7 PM. But that's me. I didn't double check it before I came on, sorry. So that's what I meant by the fact that you don't have to colour it in. If you're not great at colouring it in, you don't have to be. If you wanted to, you could go in over the top of these with one of the sort of funkier light shapes or something and colour that in. You saw, if you watched our TV, you would have seen me do it, colour in a flower like that. As far as I know, Liz, yes you can. I don't have a Versaclair here, but I can't see why you wouldn't be able to. It would just have to be quick, like I suggest you are when you're doing it. I've missed a bit. Yeah, you just have to be quick, like I suggest you are when you're using Versafine. But I can't see why you couldn't use Versafine Clear. It's not an ink I often use, so I'm not hugely au fait with what I would and wouldn't do with it, but the worst thing you can do is waste a piece of paper, so it's worth a try if it's a colour you like. Now, that's the basics of our card. So as I said, I've kept some scraps and we're going to be chipping and chopping in a moment for the centre, but I'm just looking for my base card. There we go. I don't want you to forget that, as I always say, you need to do the inside of your card. Just because I say it, you don't have to. It's my personal choice. I like to do the inside of the card so that it carries it all the way through. So where I've inked off the page there, I'm just wiping that off. And I'm going to try and do this without chucking my card in there like I did on the last Facebook Live. So as I say, we are on TV on the 13th of December, which means technically our last Facebook Live of the year would have been the 14th of December. Now, as I'm sure you can imagine, after TV, it gets crazy busy because we have to pack all the orders. And we only technically have 24 hours to get those orders out to you. Not that everybody sticks to that, but we do try our very best to get everything out to everybody as quickly as we can. And then it's in the lap of the gods with all the delivery companies as to whether we actually get it out there. So as I said, I just want to bring all these colours in on the inside as well. Thank you, the 13th at 7 PM. I thought I was right, but I just needed that double checking. So yeah, which being on TV at that time of night is lovely, but it means we don't get home here until about 10:30. And then obviously we have to pack all your orders. So I'm not going to confirm or deny whether we will make a final appearance for Christmas yet. I will let everybody know nearer the time, so just keep an eye on the Facebook pages, YouTube, emails, etc. to know whether that is our plan or not. So at the moment we'll work that this one is probably our last this side of Christmas live. I may spring the odd one in on you, you never know, if I get that urge. See, look, what did I do? Hopefully we're going to cover those all up. Oh, I make myself so cross. Red or pink. So I haven't added any ink, I'm just using the ink that was already on these. But I'm not going to go crazy on it. And I'm not doing all four corners because that will drive me insane as well. So we will leave it where we have it. And then we need to pop a sentiment in here. So we're going to use thank you. So we will use thank you on the inside. Okay. I'm hoping that my topper is going to cover those little squiggly bits. Otherwise I'll be really cross with myself. I even said I'm not going to open the card on there. Can you all still see me? So we'll pop our sentiment in there. Now I'm going to put the lids back on these before they cause me any more damage. My goodness, half an hour in already. Where does the time go? Right, sorry, I was reading comments at the same time. Completely blanked you all there, didn't I? Right, before I smudge that any further, we'll see whether this is going to cover it. For you, just, there might be a little mark there, but you're not going to see that if I don't tell you it's there, are you? So let's glue this one down. Hold that down a minute, my card was a little bit more warped than I want it to be. And then we shall pop that on. So as I said, this card suits so many different occasions. The background, depending on what you put on the top. I mean, you could put a car on there, you could put, that'd be quite cool, wouldn't it? A car on there, that would look like it's mud tracks. See what I mean? If you put our car on there, it'd be like, this is like the wheels going through the mud. Kinda like that. See, these things come to you while you're doing random stuff. So I'm going to pop that to one side, and then we're going to do our sentiments. Now, as I mentioned before, I like to try and bring everything in together. So I am going to take my sentiments. We've got 3 little ones here. One is going to say thank you. As I say, these are just offcuts that I had. It just happened on that one. I was lucky to be the right width. So when we come to cut it, it'll be lovely. And will this one fit on that side too? Well, hey! There is a God. I probably should be embossing these, but I might be a bit late now. We'll try. I might have taken too long to decide to do that. Oh no, we managed. We were okay there. Cut this one as well. So I've got the You Made Day, and then I'm going to take the Me or My. You Made My, and put that in there. I'll just get the embossing powder on there, and then I can show you guys. So you can see how you can make that up. So You Made My Day. Okay. So, or you can have You Made Our Day, or yeah, I think they're the two that fit with that. So we'll just quickly emboss this as well. Oh, Angela, lucky you. You get to play. That's quick, they only left you yesterday. Now, I did argue with myself there because I thought I'm going to put a stencil over the top of these to tie everything in, but I didn't want it to be too wet to emboss, to stamp on. But quite often I find that if I then go over the top of the ink with the oxide, it takes that shine away. So bear with me on that. It will take that away a little, I think. I'll see if I can buff it to take that excess off, because I want it all tied in together. Can you see I can't make a decision for toffee today? I think that's going to be too big. We're going to go back in with the same one. Same one and the same colour. There we go. And I'll just buff that with a piece of kitchen paper. It does dull it down a little bit with the oxides. But it would have meant that it was too wet to put my embossing powder on. So I'm just going to cut those now. What I might do... Oh, sorry, I bashed you. This is where I need a bigger room. This is a bit of a waste of paper, but it just makes it a little bit easier for me. Bear in mind I've got lots of offcuts, so to teach workshops we have lots of offcuts. Just going to stick this on here. So I've glued my big long piece. Just don't do this if you've... Normally I'm just saving myself a little bit of time. And it doesn't save me time, does it? What am I doing? Because now I'm going to cut this off first. It's going to be fun now, isn't it? It's about right-ish. I wouldn't have a black trim around the top, will I? This is why I do my sentiments normally before I'm on telly. It's a little bit too much on the top for me. See, now you can see why I don't do this unless I'm... Thought I'd be good and show you how I do my sentiments, but I've given myself too much white on here. I don't want that much white on there. So we're just trimming some of that off. And then we shall pop these on the black. Then we can cut it. I don't give my borders very big on my sentiments. I annoyed myself so much when I'm doing things like this, which is why I don't usually do them, where you can see how much I annoy myself, because I want them to be as even as I can get them without actually measuring them. So this is how I do them, because you never know what sentiment you're going to use until you get to it, usually, if you're like me. Give or take, that we'll have to do because we're doing this live. And the same again, a little border around the edge, not too heavy. Remember, you can always cut more off, but you can't add more on. Oh, this one's going to be a bit wonky, but you'll get the idea. I don't think I cut the original piece very straight. So, get rid of all the mess. And then I'm going to grab a couple of foam pads. Right there, the smaller ones. super skinny ones. I'd probably be happy with them a bit thicker than this, but it will do for now. Thank you. Oh, doesn't want to come apart now. You'll all be pleased to know Maisie's sound asleep now, so it won't be getting disturbed. There we go. So that is it. Thank you. You made my day. And then we've got the detail on the inside as well. So that is card number 1. Now I'm going to ask you to give me 2 seconds, so that, because if I don't quickly wipe these over, I'm going to put the next stencils, get the next card out and put something on top of it, and then it's going to cause me to get cross with it, and I don't want to do that. So literally 2 seconds, we'll get rid of these. And again, be careful when you're cleaning these. You've got bits and pieces that stick out all over the place. So just be a bit careful when you're doing those bits and pieces. And the same when it comes to doing your brush strokes. See, look, there was a reason. Just work with it, don't work against them. The brush strokes, whichever way you try and do it, there will be some pieces that you get caught onto. Don't rush it, just take your time to do that. And this way I'm not going to get that mustard seed everywhere that it would have gone if I hadn't have done that. So I appreciate the time to get that out of our way, because as you all know, I'm terrible for cleaning my stamps. I'm glad you like the card. As I said, this was one that we should have got done on our workshop. Our workshops ended up taking a little longer than I had planned, so we didn't get all the cards finished at this time. So those ladies that missed out on seeing this demo, now you get to see it. That's what I'm looking for. So that is that one out of our way, and we can now move on to the next one. I'm actually going to use that thank you again, I think, for the next card. So we'll keep the set of stamps available. But the next one's an easy-ish one to do, because it's all yeah, ladies in Newcastle. I believe somebody has emailed back asking if they could swap from the Saturday to the Sunday. Sue, I didn't know if it was you, because obviously Anne is on the Sunday workshop. If that person would like to email me again, or if they know anybody that wanted to do that, I should probably just ask in the Facebook group. But yes, we can sort that out for whoever it is. And if you know anybody that wants to join us, we do still have a few spaces on the workshop in Newcastle as well. Coventry is completely sold out. Yeah, there's a few that are sold out and a few that we've got a couple of places left on. Those of you from the Northwest, we have launched... Oh, I haven't given you the sizes of this card, have I? Stop talking, Amanda, and talk about what you're doing for a minute. So, as you can see, we've got lots... Oh, we've got a sneak peek. We have lots of pieces. This is actually inspired by one of our design team who does this design a few times, and I just think it's really, really effective, but a lot of people ask me how to make it. So our fabulous Helen has done a few like this, and they are just so nice. Simple, but nice. I might be doing it a slightly different way to how Helen does it, but this is my interpretation of it. So let's get our measurements for this one. It's not you then, Sue. It must be the other Sue. It must be Sue Robson. Right, so we have a white piece of cardstock, which is 6 3/4 inches, and we're going to cut that into 2¼ inch panels. So whatever size you do this, you need to be able to divide it by 3. That's the only stipulation with this. Make your life easy so that it can be divided by 3. Right, then we have a piece of, or 3 pieces of silver or whatever patterned myriad coloured card you want. And we've got, oh look, you can see that's the overhead camera, look. And they are 2 3/8 by 6 7/8. Sorry. A piece of black, which is 7 3/4 by 7 1/4. It's not square. 7 3/4 by 7 1/4. And then last but not least, silver piece, or again whatever colour you want, is 7 3/4 inch square to go on an 8 by 8 card. Hope that's made sense to everybody. So we'll just be again mounting it so we've just got a tiny little white line all the way around the edge. These pieces we don't need at the moment. Put them to one side. So we are going to come in with our piece of cardstock, and we are going to position, yeah, I think we'll go that way, our stencil. Now obviously that size paper is slightly smaller than our stencil, because our stencils are 7-inch stencils, so they are slightly smaller, so be aware of that. So on this one we're using Shaded Lilac, Seedless Preserve and Dusty Concord. Hi Barbara. So those of you that do or do not know, we have launched, for those of you in the Northwest, a workshop just outside Wigan. It says near Wigan. I haven't been there yet. We've done it from a recommendation and from somebody else that's attending the workshop. And it's at the Lancaster Manor Hotel, Peebo, I want to say it's called, near Wigan. And it's on the Thursday the 14th of March. So if anybody would like to join us, I know we used to do them in Lee, and we've done them for years and years and years and years in Lee. So these ones will be just outside Lee, a couple of weeks after the Lee show. So fingers crossed you can join us. So I'm going to do this with our Funky Line stencil. Your choice how you do this. I'm going to start, I think, lighter to darker. Yeah, I'm going to start with the lighter on the outside edge and bring it into the darker in the middle. Now obviously there's not a lot of detail around the edge of this, so you're going to have to pick your battles and see which ones that you want to put the colour through on. And you may find that you're going to come back and add more colour into certain places because it's not got any of the lilac in it when you come to cut it. All of this will become abundantly unclearer when we get there. Now obviously we've got some fine detail on these stencils, so just be aware when you're brushing not to go against them. The colours I don't often use together, but I think they look quite cool together. And again, this one is a great card for men or teenagers, again depending on the colours that you use. This stencil is invaluable for male cards, I'm telling you. If you haven't got it, you're going to want it. And if you look back, you see I've used this a few times on different demos. And then I'm going to come in a little bit. That's what I mean when I said to you, you're going to need to come in and blend a few areas because you're going to be putting that colour down quite heavy. But you don't even have to do it the way I'm doing it. I've kind of gone around the edges and then come into the darker or the pinkier in the middle. But you don't have to do it that way. Do it however you want it to be. This is your card. You don't have to do it my way. That's what I mean. See, you're going to have to go in and pick up a bit heavier in some areas where you're blending the two in the same like chunk. Kind of worked, didn't it? Just take a little bit of time to get it how you're happy with it. That's the important thing. I think it needs a bit more in there as well. And then last but not least, Seedless Preserve. Seedless Preserve is a bit like mustard seed. It can go quite a long way very quickly. So remember that when you're using it. I'm just going to have a quick sneak peek. Yeah, I think we're good. I haven't gone in hugely heavy. So that's my choices of colours. Again, entirely up to you what colours you use. That will determine who you're giving it to, really. Just take the extra ink off the mat on my board. And we'll put that out of the way. So that's your hardest job done, is your stenciling. Oh, Teresa, you will have to go back and watch later. You haven't gone for this one yet, Pat? Get it out and have a play. We've done a couple of demos with this one because I think it's one of those ones that can scare people off a little bit. I'm going to be good and just put the lids on these inks quickly after what I did on the last card and the card last week and the card the week before probably. So here's You've Got to Be Brave. We are going to go in and cut these. So as you can see, we're 6 3/4 inches. This is my 6 mark, and that's 3/4 inch. So we want 2 1/4 inch. No, it's not going to be right there. 2 3/4 inch. Yeah, 2 3/4 inch. Oh, I'm being silly now. I think my pieces are cut. Yeah, 2 1/4 inch. That was nearly a catastrophe, wasn't it? I have a trimmer that's not very happy in a certain section if I don't cut it just right, and I didn't on that one, so we've got a bit of feathering, but it will be fine. So we've cut 3 panels, just like so. Now you can just put them together like that. You wouldn't have to put anything else behind them, but I want to layer this up to the silver cardstock. Now because I've got that bit of feathering, I think I'm going to swap over and do the one that I did earlier because I didn't feather that one. So obviously it's all cut the same. It's all done the same. I just, on this one, it's got some feathering where I cut it here because of my trimmer, and that's going to really stand out when I come to put it together because it's such a clean cut card. So that's my only reason to swap over. There's my glue. There's my some glue on here. You can see, look, I tried it in multiple different ways first. Tried it as different colours, didn't like it. But I don't waste cardstock. It's too expensive these days to waste white cardstock. So I just turned it over. Nobody has a clue what was going on underneath there, do you? See? I tried to do a multicoloured one and I just didn't like it. 2¼ thanks Patsy. Like I was having a blonde moment. In my defence, I've still got to take antihistamine tablets, so they wiped me out on a different planet. They're lucky I even made it here at 2 o'clock. So that's the 3 panels. Now, those of you that have come to the shows and have seen our Floral Smile set, and loads of you pick it up. How do I make that? This is how you make it. As I say, it might be slight variation on how Helen does hers, because our lovely Helen did that particular card. Heads up as well, ladies, and gents, we are looking for new design team members for 2024. So if you're interested, let us know. All we ask you to do is send in a couple of your finished products, or finished projects, not products. So we've just stuck our silver down. I'm going to stick our black down. Now our black, you can put it up here and pop a sentiment in, but I am going to try and centre that as best I can. Press that down. I didn't even check which way my card was going. That was lucky, wasn't it? Whew. Could have had an Australian card. Now, I don't know it's your choice how you do this. I stick my 2 outside ones together as near as I can to level by my eye. Hi Amanda, hope you're feeling better and your mum's on the mend. But I'm not going to press it down until I'm happy. Obviously the glue will have gripped it a little bit, but I'm not pressing it down until I know that's exactly where I want it to be. You will have to watch from the beginning because we've done 2 cards, Amanda. So this one at the moment is slightly higher, so it still gives me that little bit of wiggle room. I'm sure there are easier ways to do this, but this is how I do it. There you go. And that's that bit done. As I said, we're going to do a sentiment, and you know what, I might just use that piece that feathered a minute ago because we can trim that off rather than waste cardstock, because I don't do waste, as you all know. I might just put well done on this one. Acrylic block would help, yeah. I very well loved acrylic blocks. You can go direct onto there if you wanted to. Pat, I will read that in 2 minutes. We'll just get this one finished and then we'll... I'm not going to cut it because we'll be able to answer Pat's question then. I'm not going to cut it, I'm not going to emboss it. I think I know what the answer is, but what the question is. Pat, that was for gilding flakes. And if you go back right to the beginning of our videos, you will find a whole video on how to use the gilded flakes with the mixed media glue. And so long as you haven't opened that glue, it should still be fine. If you have opened that glue, it may well be too dry to do it now, but it depends. It's been a while since we've sold it. So putting this on here, but I think it's going to be too big like that, isn't it? I am just going to go straight in on here somewhere and break all the rules. Let's hope it was straight, shall we? Tina, you are correct. It's for gilding flakes. There we go. That's better than trying to do what I was trying to do. So that is that card finished. My goodness, look. Over an hour, guys. What am I doing? Waffling too much. So that is the second card done. That's how you do 2 cards in an hour, hey? So all we had ahead of time was really the sentiments, the paper sizes cut out, which probably takes you, what, 10 minutes maximum to do? So these cards aren't long-winded cards to do, but they're quite effective to do. I mean, this one, you could do a whole bundle of different colours and designs with the same stencil, have them all stacked up ready. If you send a lot of cards out for that kind of, that needs something easy. Thank you, Tina. Then Pat, if nothing's been opened, it should all be absolutely fine. But I think it's probably about 5 years since we've sold those kits. So yeah, you've had that a while. You obviously have a hobby of shopping as well as crafting. So they are the 2 cards we've completed today. So you've got Funky Line Stencil just for this one. And we used Seedless, Preserve, Dusty Concord and Shaded Lilac on there. But again, you could do that in browns, you could do it in greens, you can do it in greys and blacks. It'd be really cool. You could do it in pinks and yellows, or pinks and greens like I always do. And then we have the other one here using our Proud Day stamp set. How are you going to play with that stencil? Proud Day stamp set, paint splats, stencils and masks, and the brushstroke stencils and masks for this one. The colours we used for this one are Mermaid Lagoon, Twisted Citron, Mustard Seed, Festive Berries, Picked Raspberry and Carved Pumpkin. So 2 cards complete for you today. So that's me. I'm not going to go through and show you everything we used again. I will list that when we pop it on our Facebook page. So what do we need to tell you? We are on TV on the 13th of December at 7 p.m. We are then pretty much finished, I think, before Christmas. Then we're back at Sandown, which I want to say is the 18th, 19th of January. It's a Friday and Saturday this year. So if you're coming to Sandown in January, it's Friday, Saturday. Then we'll be in York on the 28th of January, and then our workshop in Rougham, Suffolk on the 3rd of February. See, it's all changed. As I said, I can't confirm whether we will be here a week on Thursday, so 2 weeks today, which is the 14th, or not yet. Give us a couple of days. Maybe it'll probably be next week before I confirm that, but I will let everybody know. I hope you've all enjoyed it. 2 stencils I've not used yet. Pat, get using them. Yeah, so I think that's everything. So we've got the workshop in Rougham that we've had to change the date for. We have got the workshop near Wigan. I think there's 3, if not 4 places left, and that's it for that one, and that's sold out. It's just mad how busy these workshops are. I'm trying to get up and down the country. I know a few of you have asked, are you coming down south? Some of you have asked if I'm coming to Wales. It's finding the venue. So if you know any hotels that have decent parking, not difficult to find, can hold, technically, we take a maximum of 30 in our workshops these days. But when we do that, they're usually hotels that take like 50 in a U shape, because that's how we tend to do it. Yes, we are at Craftorama in Lincoln, Margaret, in March. We do all of the Craftorama and Stamporama shows, so yes, we'll be there. Yeah, so I think that's everything. So if I don't see you before, thank you all very, very much for your support this year. We've greatly appreciated it. We know that times are tough for everybody, and we appreciate that you choose to spend your hard-earned pennies with us. So yeah, it's been lovely to have you join us this year. Facebook's and YouTube's lives will continue next year if we're not back in December. So all I can do is now say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Look after yourselves, have fun at Christmas with your family, and we will hopefully, if not see you in 2 weeks, we will definitely be back at the beginning of January. Take care and